Well, Stacy the Blackfeather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacy style. And today we are continuing with my sign language series that connects decks from my over 300 tarot collection with the sign of Aries. Aquarius. We are on Aquarius today. Oh boy, it's been a day. And we are talking about the characteristics of Aquarians and how that translates into a tarot deck. So this is for all of my Aquarians out there. This is also for those of you who have an Aquarian in your life that you love. It'll be very interesting to see if you agree with my choices, if you would go a different way, or maybe what tarot decks in your collection you might see in terms of the connection to the astrology signs. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the first deck that I chose for my Aquarians is the Tarot of the Guiding Muse. This is by Ted Sue. And I absolutely love this deck for my Aquariuses. Aquarians, you beat to the tune of your own drum. You walk your own path. You're not too concerned about judgment and what other people think, but you're very, I want to say, community-based, very community-oriented. You're all about the technology, but you're also about creative energy. And I absolutely love this deck for you guys. First of all, it reminds me of Aquarian energy. It's that you're an air sign. And so the colors here, we've got, the beautiful aqua and teal colors in here. We've got water being represented. We've got the sky, air. We've got some beautiful detailing that is happening here. A little bit of the flowers and pentacles, it almost feels like to me here. Fish jumping out of the ocean. It's just very decorative, but it's simple in its color structure. So there's a lot to look at. It's reversible if you want to reverse it, and it is bordered. And here we've got some beautiful imagery. This clearly has been hand drawn. And I love that. Speaking as an artist who can't draw stick people to save her life, I am always in awe of somebody who truly has that gift of being able to draw, what they see and make it realistic, make it so that I know what you're talking about, because I can't do it. And I love this deck because it keeps things real. It's the journey of Emma, I believe is her name. Let me just double check it. Emmy, sorry, I always get it wrong. Emmy. So it's the journey of Emmy. So we have one character who's walking her own path. And I feel like that's very Aquarian for her, that, she's living her life and she's connecting with other people. It's not that she lives her life in solitude, but she's very confident in walking her own path. And anyone who wants to join her understands that that's the path that she walks. And maybe they're walking the same path or a similar path, or they don't judge the path that she's walking. They support her instead. She's very nurturing. The colors in this deck are extremely nurturing. The deck tells a story, and it's a very realistic story. This is a very, I won't say it's futuristic, but I want to say it's very modern in its approach. And Aquarians tend to be quite modern in the way that they view the world. They tend to be a bit futuristic, looking at the technology of things, looking at how to advance society and what role they play in that particular advancement of society. I love that there's attention to detail. We're seeing the tattoos on the character's body. We're seeing really interesting depictions that allow the intuition to steer the show. What lights your fire and floats your boat. There are a lot of references to different animals that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be in the picture. Here, she also has her kitty cat with her. There's always a cat in the picture because she's a cat lover. She owns a cat, so her cat is her familial. But you also see other animals like that turtle in the depiction. So lots, very colorful. The clothes that she wears, she doesn't have one single solitary style. She doesn't stick with one particular color. She travels to a bunch of different places. It just feels very Aquarian to me. We see her in a number of different situations and circumstances. and she's making it work. She's figuring out what it is that she needs to do. She's resourceful, and she's not so worried about what the rest of the world is doing. She's just walking her path, knowing that it's making a difference on the world in some capacity. She's enjoying her life, and she's enjoying the world. And I just love that. I love this deck. This is one of my, it was like a random purchase. I saw this deck on another deck review. Wasn't sure if it was going to be my style. And when it arrived, oh, I just love it. It's on linen cardstock. They're bigger cards than the traditional tarot, but still very comfortable to, hold in your hands and to shuffle and to work with. It's just everything about this deck makes me really happy. It's very artistic in its nature. And every Aquarian that I've met always has a really powerful artistic flair. So that is the Tarot of the Guiding Muse by Ted Sue. The second tarot deck that I chose is the Tarot Illuma. And you guys have probably seen this featured on my deck before. This is by Katya Lux. I can't remember if I've done a full deck review of this. I think I might have, but I'm not 100% sure. Comes with a really nice guidebook. But this definitely is a tarot deck that is like no other. It's not reversible here, as you can see, but it clearly makes a statement. When you pull this card out, you're in for some really charged information, charged guidance. And I absolutely love this deck because it is abstract in nature. You have a figure, or you have, I want to say, a theme, but there isn't like one thing to put your focus to. In fact, you want to take in the entire image. And I feel like with Aquarius, sometimes that's what they're really seeking out, is to be seen. They want to be seen as the whole picture because they do things a little bit differently. They are very creative in their approach to life. And I feel like they want to be respected for that. They want to be known for being a little bit different and a little unique, but also being useful. Also for getting the job done, and for being a part of things. Some Aquarians bring people together. They are, I want to say, the glue or the networker, the person who knows people and says, oh, you should meet my friend so-and-so, or let me put you in touch with this person. And I feel like when we're talking about this deck, the bright, bold colors means that you can't miss this person in your life. They stand out. They're unique in some really powerful way. Yes, they play well with others for the most part. Yes, they do seek out community and connection. And they're happy to be in community and connection. And they're just going to shine brightly. They're going to shine boldly. And they might not shine in the expected ways. In fact, most of the time, it's not going to be expected. So, if you're a person, it's also gilded on the side. I forgot to mention that beautiful silver gilding. If you are a person that gets intimidated by somebody shining their light and showing their true colors in that regard, then, look out, because an Aquarius is that's who they are. That's how they operate. That is, I want to say, how they kind of walk through life. And they need people around them who accept that. And I want to say who seek it out, who really appreciate what that is. And who they are going to be to you in your life. Here's the, these are turned upside down. I thought it was the full card, but okay, here we go. So here we have the 8 of Wands. Like, just look at the unique approach. And that's what Aquarius brings. It encourages people, Aquarians encourage people in their lives to look at all angles and to seek out the angle that is, I want to say, not the least desirable, but maybe the least examined. And to, maybe take a look at, okay, well, what can I do with that? How can I incorporate that? That needs to be seen. That needs a little love. That needs a little exposure to the sun, because there's something in there, something that's created. It's always created with a purpose. And so what is that purpose? So that is the Illuma Tarot. Definitely a very Aquarian approach. Then I chose, this is kind of a unique deck. It's called Crafted Clarity Tarot. I got this on a shop on Etsy, and I've noticed since I got this that there are quite a few by this particular creator. It's called the Ibiza Tarot. Sorry, the box is a bit of a challenge to open. I did do a full deck review of this on my channel many months ago, and that was one of my comments, is that the box is not great quality. So the deck itself is not like hugely incredible quality, but I still love it. I keep it in my collection because the cards are really cool. And the reason why I've chosen this for sort of to describe the Aquarius is because these cards do not follow suit exactly with the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. They are loosely based on that. Here we have the Death card. So you're seeing the skeleton. It looks like the skeleton was a female, not a male. Skeleton has an interesting hat on. You're seeing all of this, swirling artistic energy. Maybe not making it makes it maybe a little more complicated or a little more layered, nuanced. You have to lean into the message of the card. It's pretty to look at. There's a lot going on here. It's busy. And I feel like the busyness maybe makes the Aquarius a little more aloof, like there's method to the madness. I'm so busy and I've got so much going on that you're going to have to work a little harder to get at the different layers of me, to let me let you in those deeper ways. But man, oh man, I make it look good. I'm so pretty. There's so much artistic energy and artistic flow in what it is that I'm doing. And again, I feel like with the Aquarians, at least the Aquarians that I have known in my life, and based on, Stacy's, basic astrology, Aquarians are so creative and they have so much to offer, but they often feel left out, misunderstood. It's almost like not to say that every Aquarian behaves like a middle child, but there is almost that middle child energy where they're not always seen and heard for what they have to offer. So they have to kind of create their own path. And while they would love for people to understand them, they don't necessarily need that in order to be successful and to do the things that they're here to do. It's a desire, but it's not a necessity. They do crave companionship and connection. Aquarius, you make excellent friends. You are an air sign. So a lot of times people misunderstand you. They misunderstand what it is that you're trying to say, or they misunderstand your approach. And I want to say, like, sucks to be them. Like if they're not able to kind of understand where you're coming from, and you're communicating it, after a while, I feel like that's why you're just like, okay, I'm only going to put so much time and energy into this person or into this situation or into this relationship. And once I'm done, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm moving on. I'm moving forward. So this deck, I feel, really does that, because there's a lot of depiction in these images that indicates that, hey, there's a lot for you to see here. There's a lot about me that you can, sort of explore and expand into. You're going to have to work hard to get to it, but it's worth it. And if you don't take the effort to work that and to understand who I am and all the ways that I can, connect with you, no harm, no foul. I'm moving on. I'm stepping forward in something else and something new. So I really love this deck as an Aquarius characteristic deck, because it really is all about that. You have to go deeper into the imagery, and you've got to make the effort. And when you make the effort, it's worth the while, but it is going to take some effort. Aquarians do make you work for it. They're not just going to hand it over. It's like, no, you got to earn this. You got to earn this. You got to be on the level. Otherwise, I just don't have time for you. So that is the Crafted Clarity Tarot from Ibiza Tarot. And the final deck that I chose for this video is Kim Cran's The Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook. And I chose this again because this feels so Aquarian, especially when it first came out. There was nothing else like it. You know, it's a box within a box, so it makes itself known. It's beautiful presentation. You've got all of these ribbons. There's a little bit of the silver, so we get the bejewel bedazzle. Animal spirit, so it's focused on animals. We've got, you know, sort of the reptilian. It almost feels a little reptilian in nature as well. You've got the reptilian eye, keeping an eye on you. You know, huge guidebook, lots of information, laid out properly, but definitely nothing of its kind before this. This kind of set the tone for different animal decks and tarot decks in general. Standard tarot size, you know, all of her decks since she's gone with a very unique shape. I almost wanted to pull one of those out to show the, you know, beating to the tune of your own drum and doing things your own way. But I really felt like this was great because these are tarot. They are based loosely on the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, but you've got these animals, you know, tapping into the animal energy. There's also different added card decks that go deeper into, you know, the golden egg, and there's a dragon in here, and, you know, leaning into spirit energy, all the symbology, the symbolism, breaks it down into, you know, different categories. You know, here's the dragon. I was just speaking of the dragon. And here's a starfish. The imagery is simple, one focal point, again, not complicating it, but there are layers to it. So you're seeing the focal point, but then the focal point has a lot of detail to it as well. Hyena. Interesting choice that it's black and white. You're noticing the base of these cards are black and white, and then you've got the pop of color. And the pop of color is also very intentional. Aquarians are intentional in their choices. They might be a little bit, I want to say, secretive about it. They might not share everything that they're thinking or feeling with you regarding, you know, what they're planning to do, but you can guarantee it's intentional, and there are a number of different layers of purpose to why they're doing what they're doing. I love this, all of the multicoloring here. Again, simple. You're getting the clear message around it. This deck also, I want to say, not forces you to use the guidebook, but it's like a study. Like, you have to really take the time to get to know these cards and to get to know the messages, so that, yes, you could read it intuitively, absolutely, but this is also a deck that, you know, each animal has been chosen for a particular reason. And part of the beauty of this deck is to learn about what each of these animals represents. Getting to know the Aquarius, doing the work to learn and to get under the layers, you know, because they're worth it and you're worth it. And I don't want to say Aquarians test you all the time, but there is a kind of a quality of that. Oh yeah, there's the Phoenix. I love that. There's a quality of that. An Aquarius kind of tests you, tests your mettle. You know, how willing are you? How worthy are you of my attention, of my support, of my love? You know, all of those things. If you're willing and if you're worthy, then okay, we can do something. And otherwise, I'm just going to beat to the tune of my own drum somewhere else, because there's a lot that I have to offer. So yeah, that is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit from Kim Krantz. So that is our sign language video for the sign of Aquarius. I hope you enjoyed this. I loved sharing this information with you. Please feel free to put in the comments what you thought about my selections. If there's anything else that you would add, would love to keep the conversation going. Other than that, I'm sending you guys so much love and support until we see you for another episode of Divinely Decked or Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life. I wish you lots of love and support, and we will see you on the flip side. Transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture Divining the VIP Life.